If you want to do like a smoke line that is a bit cheeky, this is more for the higher level players. In order for you to take cat control, there are different ways to do it. In a little bit of a fast way, you can throw a jump script smoke where you just sit here and look at this gray dot right there, and then stand up and jump throw. That will put a smoke on top of the box here, and then you can go a little bit fast towards catwalk. If you don't have this Xbox smoke and you are afraid to cross the middle, then one guy from lower can throw this smoke. Just go into this corner. You aim in the bottom of this, how do you say, thing that is keeping the door together, and then you go right, and then you right click. That's what we call the box smoke in Astralis. And then obviously just be aware that he's close here, but it will block off any vision from the orb in the mid, and then you can go catwalk. To get cat control, it's quite common to mollo this area off, obviously, and then get up here, and then you have to be aware of not this position, but close here. Maybe an orb is holding here, or maybe a little bit more defensively. So whenever you come up here, it's really nice to have a guy down here ready to throw a flash. The flashbang towards catwalk is not like a clear lineup. Just make sure that you stand as close as to this wall as possible, and then aim in the left side so that you're sure that it will hit the wall up here. And then it's not a picture perfect lineup. It just have to just touch the wall before exploding. So this here, you can see is covering catwalk, and you throw this flashbang, it will look something like this, and then he will get off, and yeah, it's a pretty decent flashbang. They will hear it bounce on the wall, but it will be almost impossible for them to dodge it anyways. But when you have gained cat control, it's a lot about remembering the information that you have seen previously. So have they used a lot of nades towards long, for example, then the A guys maybe don't have that many nades. How are your nades? Do you have plenty, or because if you do, then you can actually just, sometimes it's good to just throw this smoke without running an execute, just to see how they react. If they immediately start molotoving here and nading and throwing your grenades, it can be a good idea to just fall a little bit back, but then end up going A after all, because then you know that they're most likely going to have very few counter nades, and you can get an advantage. If they don't use any nades at all, you can actually just jump if they don't use any nades, just to see if there are any CTs and where they are located, and it will be extremely difficult for a AWP or any other to shoot you while doing it. So that's one option, just to get some information. If you don't see any, then you can line up your nades and then go A. Another thing that is like a common rule for a lot of top teams is that if you have taken cat control and suddenly the CT AWP starts shooting down in the mid, then you know that there is a higher chance of no AWP is playing on A, and then it's just full rush A catwalk. This one here, it's maybe for some of the, how do you say, more low level players, because I would say that decent players with a lot of hours on their account will definitely be aware of this. But you go into the middle of this door, and then you look at this little thing, gray thing, and then you throw it, and it will actually land on top of this, and then you will have a one-way here, where you can look for rotations or CTs running through towards A to help. You can get a kill, but a lot of players, they avoid, when they see this smoke, they avoid getting caught here, or they'll just start spamming. So it's a little bit of a risk, and it's a bit of a known smoke, so be aware that it might not work. If you want to do like a smoke line that is a bit cheeky, this is more for the higher level players. You put in this smoke, and if they don't counter nades and you want to go, you can go into this corner and then use your grenade splint, or what you call it, and put it up here. So it will look like you have to put it there in the white thing. And this is with view model preset +3. And then you throw this smoke. Let me just throw this one again. So this means that you come up here, and this looks all nice, but you actually are very difficult to see. So if I'm here, I can definitely see this corner. I'll just show you a bot here that I put. He is very difficult to see. It's actually first now I can see him, but you saw on my screen how easy it was to see here. So yeah, that's also a good way to execute A. So the first guy is gonna do this. He's gonna jump down here, a bit risky, but his Orber will hopefully protect him. Make sure you don't do this mistake by going left here, because in that case your Orber won't be able to protect you. So run like this, come down here, go down here, Molotov short, and then jump up in the smoke that is going to be thrown. Second guy is coming down here, throwing this Xbox smoke, and just flashing one time long. That can also be a good way to draw out nades from your opposition. So the third guy is gonna be your Orber. He's just gonna sit here and hold you. Would be nice if he's just a little bit more to the left, because then there's just a mathematically higher chance of him getting a kill before you. The two guys down here would get killed. And then you have another guy jumping down here with the other guy here, just rushing towards down mid, and then they will jump up here and set two guys here. And then you have one guy who's just gonna go upper dark. He can maybe get some information if they are molotoving or smoking, how many nades they have, because that can also be part of the decision making when you take cat control and you remember, okay, but they actually threw a smoke and a molotov in the beginning of the round on B, so they might not have any nades or many nades later on if we want to decide to go B instead. He's just gonna chill a little bit here. They are an Xbox smoke, so he can just get forward, maybe cover upper dark in the beginning. You can have the guy who was flashing long and throwing the Xbox smoke. He can just come down, throw a flashbang before this smoke evades. When this smoke evades, they will just dry peek it, so on. Maybe just cover that and not down here and close to mid, but otherwise just peek it here. It's very difficult when you sit in a smoke. You have a bigger advantage from when you're facing a guy that is not sitting in a smoke. So if I were a CT here and there was a smoke here, and it starts disappearing, then the Ts would definitely have an advantage. But otherwise, it's also very common for CTs to just, if they are here and they see a smoke, they tend to go here maybe to get some information because they think it's clear. And if, let's say, our op gets caught off guard by a CT here, then you will have two guys here just pushing and killing him, trading, and that's a good trade. 4 versus 4 is definitely a T-side advantage on those two. So it's a good trade that we want, especially if we can get our opponents out of the game. So that's one way of taking cat control, and then they'll just like use the flash here, come up here, take this, see how they react. It's a lot about how they react, and be patient, because sometimes you don't have to create the game. It can also be your opponents making a mistake and trying to push you. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more content, then please subscribe. And if you have any more suggestions, then feel free to write them to us, and we will make sure to cover them in the future. So take care.